This webinar is for the TestOut Pro Certified Microsoft Word product. First, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Caleb Hunter, and I am the product manager for our Office products. I'm the liaison between the product and the customer. So I'm here with the main presenter, which is Michael Olson. He's our content development manager. He and his team have been working really hard to get this product ready for its release on July 26th. And we're really excited to give you a preview of what you should expect. All right, so many of you know we have a TestOut Office library. In the TestOut Office library, our first product was TestOut Office Pro, which prepares students for the associate level certification, MOS 100 for Word, 200 for Excel, and 300 for PowerPoint. We also have introductory level training on Outlook and Access. And then last year we released TestOut Pro Certified Microsoft Excel, which focuses in on Excel. Also teaches the associate level training for Microsoft Excel and expert training for the MO 201 certification. We're now releasing TestOut Pro Certified Microsoft Word July 26th, which does the same thing. Gives the associate level training to get the associate MO 100 certification, and then also to get the expert level training. So Michael's going to present this TestOut Pro Certified Microsoft Word product. He'll go over topics that will be covered, how the course teaches students, TestOut Pro certification, and make sure you pay close attention to the last two, because that's how you're going to get your students better prepared for certification. And that's through the MOS Domain Practice and Reports and the MOS Practice Exams. All right, so that is all for me. If you want to go ahead, Michael, and take over.
Hi, everybody. My name is Michael Olson. Like Caleb said, I am the content development manager. So me and my team build all of the Office courses. So we're the ones who make the videos and the labs. You probably recognize my voice if you've heard any of the recent show me's from Office 7 or Excel Pro or Word Pro. You'll hear them for sure. So I want to do a few things. We're going to start by looking at the course outline. This is the Word Pro course. It is available in beta for teachers who request access to get a preview, which is pretty cool. But what we've done with the Word Pro course is really similar to the Excel Pro course we released last year, where we took all of the content for Microsoft Word from Office Pro, and we've put it as the first half of the Word Pro course. And so we have all of the same topics and features that are covered here, whether that's just copy and paste, making font choices, autocorrect and spelling, to things like tables, bulleted lists, images, etc. And all that stuff that is needed to prepare students for the Word Associate exam. It's all here, which is awesome. And then we have the second half of the course, which is all of the advanced level or expert level content that prepares students to take the MOS Word Expert exam. And I thought we'd just spend a minute or two looking at what some of those different tasks are. You can see we have a chapter on custom styles, about advanced editing, references, and automatic document content are kind of the big picture things. But let's take a look at what that actually looks like for students. I figured it'd be a good chance to just look at what some of the labs look like. We're really proud of the actual look of the labs for the advanced stuff, and we're hope that the students will engage with kind of the really well-designed documents, and those will resonate a little bit, that the students will feel connected to that. But students will be doing a lot of cool things like creating custom styles that they can use in the documents to automatically format things. We have sections about charts. I don't think I actually pulled one of those up. They'll be doing really cool things with find and replace that you don't normally see, like finding different styles, or change all 4-letter words that begin with M. You can do really cool things with the find and replace that they're gonna see there. We are having them do a lot of cool things with indexes. That's what this is here. This is an index that we just labeled as a cast of characters. Like an automatic table of contents, Word can create automatic indexes or take figures for captions for figures, and they'll be doing. We're having them do a lot of really cool paragraph formatting and language options, as well as document protection, where they can restrict editing to only certain sections of the documents, or to only certain types of formatting, or only certain users, which is really awesome. We have a section about macros where we have students both run and create and edit macros in Word. If you don't know what macros are, I'm sure most of you do, but if you don't, macros are kind of automatic formatting things. So I can come up here, just do this task really quickly, and we can go ahead and just run our macro. We want to run the font size macro, and that'll automatically do a lot of cool things in the document for us. We also have a chapter on mail merge, which is something I know a lot of people are really excited about, where students will learn about what mail merge is, how to create these documents that you can send to multiple people and have it be personalized for each of them without writing hundreds or thousands of copies. And that's pretty awesome. So that's what the kind of the meat of the course is, all that content, and those kind of a little preview of what some of those labs look like. We also wanted to talk a little bit about just how we organize each of the sections of content in both this course and the other Office courses, whether it's Office Pro or Excel Pro. So if you used those courses before, this will look really familiar, but we start each section with video instructions. And these video instructions will have, hopefully you can't hear the video because it's going to be loud, but an automated video with this interactive script or closed captions that they can use to jump around, to read along, which is pretty great. If you've never played Cube before, you really should. It's awesome. It doesn't have anything to do with the course, but it's pretty great. But we have these videos. After the videos, they get a review sheet in this fact sheet where we talk about all the things they need to know about that. And then they dive into these labs, right? We have 3 different kinds of labs in these courses. We have skills labs, which are single task labs. So you're only doing one thing at a time through the lab. The challenge lab is really similar, but the tasks are randomized. Sorry, that's my doorbell. Someone's trying to break in. The challenge labs are randomized, and they don't have as many helps. So the skills labs you're going to see, we're going to have video and text helps, and the challenge labs you don't have any video helps. And then we have a couple applied labs in each section where the students kind of do multiple things at once. They don't get that immediate feedback that you'll see. And let's just take a look at what some of those labs look like. So I wanted to just kind of showcase this mail merge skills lab. Again, the skills lab is going to have a list of tasks that they do one at a time. And as soon as they finish that task, you'll see in just a sec, they get that instant feedback. We do have hints. And then if your students prefer to not read the hints and prefer to see it, we also have a show me equivalent. That's going to be my voice on that thing. But the show me videos will have the hint in visual form, where they'll watch people do that task from start to finish. So that's what we're looking at there. Let's just go ahead and do a task, and you can see what that immediate feedback looks like. So in this case, I want to add an address list that's an Excel file to be used as the address list for this mail merge document, so that I can just pull that Excel file in and have addresses, names, everything automatically there. So I'll just follow the hint, go to the review tab, or sorry, the mailings tab. I'll select my recipients. I'll use an existing list. This is an Excel file, not a CSV or a database file, so I'll go to all files. There it is. I hit open. Hooray, I was able to finish it. I did use help though. I opened the hint in the show me, so it'll have me do it again before I can get 100% on the lab. I hit continue, and it jumps me to the next lab. If you haven't used mail merge before, it's awesome. So here I have my first recipient, and I can just scroll through the list there. There's my 4th recipient. I did the task, no helps, congratulations. And that immediate feedback is really great as students are first getting into to these labs. The challenge labs are really similar. They have a similar layout. They don't have the video show me helps, and the tasks are in a random order instead of a structured order. It's also timed, and you can use it as kind of a challenge or a competition between your students in your class. And then the applied labs, let's open one of those. I like this one more. This doesn't have anything to do with the course, but that's a true statement. You can fight me later if you want. Gandalf is a dwarf, not a wizard. Sorry. But the applied labs, we have all of the tasks listed at once. The students can generally do them in any order. Sometimes there'll be a required order. You have to do one in order to make the other one available. But for the most part, we have them independent. And the students don't get any feedback until they try to do the lab, more like a real world scenario. And so here we have a bunch of things we want to do to this document. First one we want to do is we want to add Icelandic, or maybe we'll do the second one where we just select all of this Icelandic text here. Technically it's Old Norse, but it's the same thing. And then I can come up to the review tab and the languages, and I can set the proofing language to Icelandic. It'll take a second, but there we go. I don't get any feedback, but as I think I'm done, I can go ahead and score the lab, and it'll tell me, hey, you did this one correctly, and you can move on. These are really great summative things for the end of each section. So that's kind of how our labs and our sections are organized, as we have a lot of really good video content that's good for the students to get into it, understand the context, why we care about this, see it done. We then have them practice structured and ordered so they can kind of get through it and really get a feel for what it's supposed to do and what it looks like. Another practice, and then they can try it on their own, which is really great. Once they get through the content, though, we do have our TestOut Pro certified exam, which a lot of teachers really like because unlike the MOS exams, it is a part of the TestOut system, which means that you get to see individual student performance, not just get a final score. And it's also free, so you don't have to find ways to pay for it. We have a few hints about how to take the exam. We have a couple practices where the format will look exactly the same as it does for the actual practice exam. And then we have a final practice exam that the students can also take before they take the TestOut Pro Certified Microsoft Word Advanced exam. That is a mouthful, I'm sorry, but it's very specific for a few different reasons. But this is a really great option for you. If you are interested in MOS certification, we have lots of stuff for you too. Just like in Office Pro version 7, we have these really great MOS certification practices. So we have them both for the associate exam in here in Word and the expert exam in Word. And you'll see the same things in the other Office courses. But we have like, how do you do tasks that you don't know? We have a video that teaches students. These are some techniques or skills you can try when you see something on the exam that you haven't actually done before, which is very likely to happen. Don't panic, for example, is one of the first things we say. We also have some practice exams. We'll talk about those in just a second. But what I really want to focus on are these domain practice labs. And unlike most of the other rest of the course, where the labs are broken up into individual things you can click on directly, these ones are actually all bundled into the section. And so if we click on that, we can see what they look like. In these domain practice labs, what we see is the labs are combined with this readiness report, which is why they're not individually accessible from the outline. And these are all in new labs that are organized not in terms of the course content, but in terms of the official Microsoft Office Specialist domain objectives. So if you were to look at the official objectives there, you'd see that the first section is called Manage Document Options and Settings. And we've organized these labs to follow those MOS objectives. And as students launch these labs and take the labs, this domain practice will create reports for them. Let's go ahead and take a look at this lab that I've done. So I can just expand that and see, oh, looks like I did really great with these find and replace objectives. Maybe not as great with the paragraph layout options. Hyphenation was okay. Pagination options, not so much. Manage styles, okay, I can modify, but I really can't make new styles or copy styles between documents. So that kind of gives me a quick overview. I can also see in detail exactly what that means. So for here, example for task 7, this is the set paragraph pagination option. I cannot say that out loud. The paragraph pagination options objective. Here's the exact task from the lab. Set the pagination options to prevent the paragraph from splitting across a page. I wasn't able to do that. As opposed to task 6 here. Okay, I can show line numbers. That's great. What I love about these reports is that it builds in review materials right into the report. So I don't have to go back into the course and find things that are linked automatically. And if I click on that, it will let me launch the lab directly. for something that has specific videos here. There should have been a video there too, but I can go ahead and just launch those videos directly, including the interactive script, in this report. I don't have to go back into the course and redo those things. And so this is a really great resource for students. You should have them just run through these domain labs, say if you don't know it, just don't worry about it, skip it, and then they can use this report as an individualized study guide to practice the things that they need. These other tabs are essentially doing the same thing. This is just organized by objective instead of organized by task. And the overview is the same, it's just a chart instead of a list. The other awesome thing that I love about these domain practice labs is that if I were to try and come again, I can either start the lab over or I can just practice the things that I missed. And it'll only launch the lab with those tasks again. Because of the way that's organized, these labs are essentially skills labs, but with these really awesome report features that help your students really feel confident that, yes, I know how to do all of these things. I can study on these things I don't know, and I can go back and I can practice those again. And that brings us to our practice exams. We do have 2 practice exams for both of the MOS exams. So we have 2 practice Word Associate exams and 2 practice Word Expert exams. Again, you'd see these same associate practice exams for Word, Excel, PowerPoint in the Office Pro course. So if you're not using Office Pro version 7, you should really consider upgrading because this is a really awesome feature. But each of these practice exams does have different questions that cover some different topics. So if students are really nervous about knowing everything, they can take both exams. A lot of students, if they do really well on the first one, it's a pretty good indicator they'll do well on the actual exam. And I've actually pulled up one of these practice labs to look at. I don't want to look at too many of the tasks because I know some people use them for their assessments, but you'll notice that in this MOS practice exam lab, it doesn't look like most of our other labs. We've redone the lab interface so that it looks a lot more similar to the actual MOS exam. So instead of having my tasks here on the side, I have a task list on the bottom. If I come look at, say, just this first task here, I can review for later because I don't know how to do it. I can say, hey, I think this task is done. I can just ignore it, doesn't really matter. I can navigate through just like I could on the MOS exam, and I can also show and hide those tasks in a really similar way that you would see on the exam. And so as students take these practice exams from the MOS practice materials, they'll get a really good feeling for how to navigate through the exam, as well as, of course, the actual content that they might see on the exam based on those exam objectives. So that's what those exams look like, and they're pretty great. I've been talking a lot faster than I had planned. I am sorry. I'm supposed to be going a little slower. Caleb, has anyone asked any questions about the content we've talked about so far in the chat? Or maybe I can just open up. Is there
We've got
anything?
a question right here from Shannon.
Sweet.
So students will access Certified Pro, Word, or Excel outside of the basic TestOut Office Pro.
Okay.
The question is, yeah.
So if I understand the question correctly, maybe I don't, but let me try and rephrase it. So the question is, will students access Word Pro content separate from the Office Pro content? Is that the question?
Yes.
Yeah, so in our Office Pro library, we have 3 separate courses. So we have the Office Pro course, that's the one that's been around for years, and it's awesome. And it only covers the associate level materials for the majority of the Office products, right? Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Access, etc. We also introduced a separate course, the Excel Pro course, last year, and it has a similar structure to this course that we're seeing now. And then we have this course, which is the Word Pro course, which has a lot of a similar organization and features as the other courses, but is exclusively content for Microsoft Word and these 2 specific exams. I did see a question, do all labs have unlimited attempts? And I think it depends on your exact LMS setup, but usually yes, you can take these labs as many times as you want. Then you can also decide in the lab sim grade book, are you taking an average of all attempts as the final grade or just the top attempt? And that's similar to our other Office courses as well.
Do you plan to have an expert level of Office Pro, Word, Excel Access expert?
That's a good question. That's not something we've been discussing at the moment. We have more been focusing on creating product-specific courses like Excel Pro or Office Pro. And I think the reason for that is it just makes more sense to kind of have that flow through one product from start to finish than it does to say, we've assumed that you know A, B, and C from our particular introductory course, but the advanced course, we're going to just start kind of and work from there. It's not a bad idea. It's something we should probably think about, but we're trying to figure out exactly where we want to go next with the Office library, right? Do we want to create more start to finish courses, or do we want to just kind of bundle all of the pro things or advanced things into an advanced course? Or do you want to mix and match and do all of it? Like, I think we have a lot of options, and we're really trying to figure out what is most useful for customers and kind of go from there. Definitely reach out to your reps if you have ideas, because we'd love to hear them. That was a good question. I think I just saw from Shan. They said, so would students complete the Office Pro course and then the Word Pro or Excel Pro things? And you can definitely do that. Just know that because a lot of the content from Office Pro is also in this course, that your students don't have to start the Word Pro or Excel Pro course at chapter 1. They could jump into the middle of the course and start with the new material instead of redoing the material they've already seen. It's a great question. But if you're only teaching, for example, Word and Excel, it might make more sense to not worry about Office Pro and just use these courses.
I think someone has asked if there's a way to limit the number of attempts. I think that comes from Shelley Green.
Yeah.
Currently, we do not have option to limit what the students can do within TestOut. It's kind of
Right.
so they can learn as they go and continue learning.
Right. And I think there's a lot of different educational philosophies around that, right? It depends on what you're doing and how you're trying to grade things and how you're assessing things and how your classroom is set up. And there's a lot of things. I know that a lot of teachers prefer to let students try as long as they want, and some students don't. And then, yeah, like someone just mentioned in the chat, if you're using a different third-party LMS like Canvas, they might have options that limit how things are graded as well. So you can maybe see some of those settings.
And there are a few every once in a while, I'm reading here that we have a few like suggestions.
Awesome.
For those, I don't necessarily want to go over all the suggestions in here, but for those who have suggestions, I think it's important that you understand how to give those suggestions. And if you go into LabSim and go on your profile, click on your name, there's an option there for feedback. I would use that, because that's where we get a lot of suggestions from our customers and ideas on how we can improve our products. You can also go onto the our website. There's also an option there where you can contact support. If you email support@testout.com, you can also give suggestions there. You can also email your representative and provide suggestions. We love suggestions. We want to make our products meet your needs. And the more, Michael likes to say, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So yeah, that's a good way to provide suggestions.
Yeah. And as I'm scrolling through the chat, I'm seeing a lot of questions about the TestOut certifications and which ones are offered. Currently, we only have one certification offered per course, right? So there's an Excel advanced certification, there's a Word advanced certification in this course, and there's a generic Office certification from the Office Pro course. So we don't have currently like a two-tiered certification for the Word course, for example. From someone says, what version of Office do you recommend? And that's a good question. So I assume that you're referring to the version of Office that is being used in your computer classroom, right? Our current version of Office Pro is based on Office 2019, which matches the current certification exams from Certiport. But really, I think that it doesn't matter a whole lot which version of Office you use, just because there are so many different versions available that what students see in your classroom versus what they see in our labs versus what they see when they take the actual exam might be different. And so just being aware that, the ribbon might be a different color on the top, or some of the options might be organized just a little bit differently is a really valuable skill for students to have, so that when they go take the exam, if there is a discrepancy between what they're used to and what the exam interface looks like, they can adapt really quickly and easily. I do think that if I had to pick a version to use in my classroom, I would pick whatever I could get my hands on, right? Probably the most up to date would be what I would use, whether that's Office 2019 or Office 365 or Office 2021. But I think that our course really focuses on not just the exact like click here, click here, click here, but trying to teach students how to navigate the interface and find what they're looking for so that they can adapt to some of those little changes that come with different versions.
Well, thank you all very much and have a great day, and hope you enjoyed the other sessions here at the Elevation Summit with TestOut.